Good morning. It's time to get in touch. In Touch is a public affairs show dedicated to improving the lives of Susquehanna Valley residents. I'm Freddi Hammer, News Director at Backyard Broadcasting. The Coldest Night of the Year is a fun, family-friendly walk to raise money and remind us to step up and support vulnerable families and individuals. One of the Coldest Nights of the Year charity partners is American Rescue Workers, who welcome people experiencing homelessness and food insecurity and do their best to help the community. Jen Remkey is here today. She's the Director of Development and Community Engagement. Hello, Jen. Nice to see you.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
We've talked on emails, but we haven't really gotten to be face-to-face. Tell me when you got started with American Rescue Worker.
I am coming up on a year with American Rescue Workers. I started in April of last year. I've been a grant writer, fundraiser my whole entire career. I most recently was a contract grant writer, and I also was working for another broadcaster. So I miss my nonprofit world, and I just couldn't get close enough to it, even being a contractor.
Sure.
And I took the leap and came to what I believe is my tribe with American Rescue Workers.
That's so wonderful.
They're just amazing. I love working there. We're doing great work. That's the whole thing of it. That's the whole gist of it. Not only do I have great coworkers and a great work environment, but I get to work with the people that need our help.
Absolutely.
And, 3 homeless shelters in the city, one of which is in our building on Elmira Street. And that's our men's long-term work therapy program, where we teach guys, it's called Fresh Start.
Okay.
And we have 39 guys that live upstairs, and they work in our facility in some way, shape, or form as part of their work therapy, learning how to get back in the job field. The softer skills, that kind
Sure.
of thing, learning how to work with your supervisor and getting up on time. And then eventually they're working for somebody else, and they, as a phased program, and they start to save their own money and then eventually move on to self-sufficiency.
Yeah, the building blocks of that life that they're trying to get to.
Absolutely. And some of them are, coming out of incarceration. Some of them are just coming from really bad environments. Maybe they were running with a bad crew. Lots of reasons drive homelessness and how it occurs. Our shelter over on Campbell Street, it's called Saving Grace. Mm-hmm. That's a short-term shelter. It's a 30-day shelter, and unfortunately, always a wait list. That is another huge hurdle that our people have to overcome, and that there's not enough affordable housing in our area. Our food pantry is another area, where
those folks do help out in that area as well, the people that you're helping with the shelter.
Yes.
That's part of their job.
Yes, our Fresh Start folks do work over in our food pantry. Mm-hmm. They work in our warehouse. They work on our trucks, taking product out to our thrift stores all across the valley. And so it's a very complex yet very simple, by design, process program that all works together for the greater good. And so the more we can invite the fine folks that are all participating in Coldest Night, that all helps us to drive that ultimate goal, which is self-sufficiency. And in a perfect world, we would have nobody that was homeless, right, and nobody that needed food.
Yeah, wish we didn't have to do Coldest Night of the Year.
Absolutely. That would be the greatest thing on the earth.
Well, you bringing this idea to the American Rescue Workers, or how has this circulated, Coldest Night of the Year? I know there's a lot of other entities that are also going to be doing the same thing.
Yeah, this event is international, as we like to say. It was started in Canada about 15 years ago. There are about 100 locations, if not more, in Canada that do this on the exact same night that we're doing it here in little old Williamsport, and about 60 locations that are doing it in the United States this year.
Wonderful.
We are one of 6 in Pennsylvania that are doing this, and it wasn't my idea. This was floating around when I came on board in April of last year.
Okay.
And it's held every February. This year it will be held on February 22nd, this coming Saturday evening at 5 o'clock. By design, the folks that dreamt this up in Canada wanted it to be a way to have a little bit of fun, but also as you begin the walk, it becomes a little bit darker. Mm-hmm. A little bit colder, the cold starts to set in, and you sort of start to probably feel a little bit what it's like to be homeless.
It gives you the sense of what if I had to stay out here?
Yeah, that's by design. They really encourage us to not to keep it somber, but it's not necessarily a super high intensity or super high energy. Although people are very excited, and we have tons of volunteers that are coming out to help cheerlead, and we'll have lots of cheerleaders if you're walking the course. There'll be people there cheering you on and making sure that you go in the right direction. But at the end of the night, when we all come back inside and we start to think about the fact that homeless people don't necessarily always get to come inside, or they might have to get in their car and make the choice of whether they can, keep the car running all night, because if they live in their car, they might not have enough gas to make it through the night.
We go to our 9-to-5 jobs and take our kids to school and all those things, but you don't think about people who may have to suffer outside.
Exactly. The whole walk has a lot to do with those that are hurting, hungry, and homeless. And even folks that are hungry, as they're making those decisions about how to put food on the table versus how they're paying their rent. And there was a recent statistic published by the United Way. 60% of Americans are one crisis away from homelessness. So think about if you're on the edge, you're on the precipice, and your car breaks down,
right,
or you fall on the sidewalk and you can't go to work for a week and you live paycheck to paycheck. That is the first thing that happens, and everything else just kind of spirals out of control. And that's what Lycoming County folks are
We just
living
represent
with.
that. It's almost everywhere.
It's everywhere.
When we have the support like this, the goals that you're hoping to make, then and you're able then to put that money directly into American Rescue Workers programs and helping. I mean, that's pretty much our goal here. What's our overall goal?
Our overall goal is to engage our community and allow people a way to help us do the work that we're doing. So it might seem a little bit silly to come out and have this rah-rah walk. How is that really impacting us? But raising the money, this peer-to-peer model of our teams who are going out and raising the money, and it's becoming a little bit competitive too on the scoreboard for those that are watching. Backyard Broadcasting is right up at the top of the leaderboard most of the time, and we're loving that. But with all seriousness, that this walk allows us to keep the lights on, right? It allows us to continue to pay the case managers that are helping our residents,
right,
whether they're at Saving Grace or they're in the Fresh Start program. I was working on a report this morning, and, over 150 hours of case management time was given to our residents in January alone. And so those positions are so important to us. And while we have lots of funders and, grants and individual donors and all those sorts of things, these special events, these fundraisers allow us to bring more folks into the fold and to help them, our walkers, understand what exactly it's like to be homeless, or what it might be like to talk to somebody who's food insecure, because we will have some of our residents out there helping us along the way.
Great.
Who will be there at the end for the fellowship meal, who, they're not going to want to be probed or anything like that, but that, to be able to talk to them and just be like, hey, how is this program affecting you? So
right.
that's
here maybe a success story or two.
Absolutely.
That's wonderful.
Absolutely.
Tell me what it looks like the day of the walk. What time do people show up? And then how is everybody going to gather? What's the route?
So the route begins and ends at Lamedy Gymnasium at Lycoming College.
Yeah.
Lycoming has been a great partner for us, and they're sending out a bunch of volunteers for us to have out on the walk with us. And so 4 o'clock begins check-in. The website to get this information is cnoy.com/Williamsport. So the check-in starts at 4 o'clock. At 4:45, we'll be mustering kind of for the opening remarks, which will be very brief. And then at 5 o'clock, we send them down along Pennington and head out to Mulberry Street. From there, we'll head up to Washington Boulevard. We'll walk through Brandon Park. We'll make a loop through Brandon Park.
That'll be nice. That's a dark spot as well.
It is dark.
That'll give you some ideas of like, wow.
Yeah, and unfortunately, there are some times you won't see them,
right,
walking, but sometimes, unfortunately, there are people that live in the woods near Brandon Park. And that was the intent of it, to replicate that environment as best as we can.
And maybe if people see you, people who are making these decisions about whether to pay for medicine or their food, maybe they can also sort of be heartened, like, wow, people are trying to help us.
Absolutely.
That's
Absolutely.
wonderful.
Yeah. And if folks that are insecure in terms of housing stability or food, we want that message to be that your community loves you and that we're here to help. And sometimes people don't know how to help. And so that's why one of the reasons why we're doing this event. From Brandon, they continue up Hepburn, cross over to Union, and then come up Elizabeth Street and loop on the backside of Lycoming College to, again, end same place you started there at Lombardy.
Okay.
So,
and you say there's a fellowship meal.
There is. Afterwards, everybody will be invited back inside, and we will have a simple meal, some soup, crusty bread, good, warm comfort food to come in from the cold because it's cold out there, coldest night of the year. Mm-hmm. And there'll be actually one little small activity that you can do at your table, whether you're sitting with your teammates or other table mates, to kind of talk about what the impact was. It's very simple, sticky note oriented that Lycoming College is helping us with. So that's a pretty exciting piece of it, that we're kind of localizing it a little bit and how people might be able to help us in the future after the event.
That's wonderful. Recap and look at it and plan for next year.
Yeah. This morning I started thinking about I'm really looking forward to next year already.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to, send out the save the dates to all of our folks that are walking. Huge shout out to our team captains. They are the ones that stepped up early on and said, yep, I'm going to lead a team and I'm going to go ask my friends, family, and coworkers to form a team with me. And then those people in turn go out and ask their friends and family for $50 here, $25 here, $10 here. And it all helps towards that goal, which is $20,000 for us to raise this year, which is great for a first year event.
Excellent.
I'd be super stoked if we did that.
I think here coming up just a week away, there's still time to make teams, isn't there, Jen?
There are.
I mean, it's a little bit of a rush. You might have to work pretty hard to get your goal, but it can be done.
It can be done, absolutely. If you're thinking about it or if this sounds like a lot of fun, and it is a lot of fun. I've talked to some other organizations that have been doing this for, 10 years, and they're raising $100,000, and they have 500 walkers that come out for this. So
amazing.
And you can definitely do it. If you set a goal of, $500, you can definitely do that, between now and next Saturday for the 22nd.
It's a matter of numbers.
It is. There's a Get 5 formula, how you get your first 5 donors, and so I can help you with that. Easy peasy.
Excellent. So we're talking about the competition here at Backyard Broadcasting, and we actually can go on our Facebook pages. That's where a lot of the totals are being counted and the bragging's going on, and they're seeing who's on the top of the list. So we'll check that out. And is that available on the cnoy.org website?
It's actually a .com, cnoy.com / Williamsport. If you wind up on the .org, that's the Canadian events.
Okay.
So it's important to recognize it is the .com.
Okay.
You can see the scoreboard there, and Backyard Broadcasting is definitely top of the leaderboard. I know I have another $1,000 check that's coming in, donation that's coming in around noon today. So all you teams out there that are listening, or if you're thinking about a team, don't be daunted, or maybe you should, let it spur you on and get your fundraising chops out there and ask your neighbors to give you a $25 donation, and you'll be off to the races.
Are there any things to consider, like things we shouldn't bring along to the walk, like maybe our pets? I'm not sure about pets for the walk.
There are no pets allowed on the walk route unless they are a service animal.
Okay.
There will be signage all along the route. I'll have volunteers posted all along the route. Like I said, we would suggest that you want to bring a cell phone. We do have 2 rest stops. We have, again, volunteers that should anything happen, God forbid, that would be able to help you. I have route marshals that will be driving the route so that no man left behind, kind of thing.
Somebody following up at the back.
Yes, we'll have a sweeper, for those marathoners that are out there. I actually have one gentleman who's in the walk, and he's an avid, hardcore, trail runner. And he really wanted to run the walk, and I was like, no, Carl, you can't.
Because there's no running. It's
there's
just
no
walk.
running. It's walking. It's just walking. So
he can do high stepping.
Yes. We have a 2K route too. If 5K is a little bit too daunting for you, we do have a 2K route. I know there's a lot of other events that are happening that night. So even if you only can come out that night and do the 2K, that's totally fine with us. We just want you to come out and have fun and help us for a great cause.
We just love the American Rescue Workers and want to help as much as we possibly can. So we go to cnoy.com. We go there and we find our leaderboard. We get ourselves all the information. And if you register, that's kind of the waiver, correct?
Yes, you can register a team at cnoy.com. bnoy.com/Williamsport. You can also volunteer there. That's where the volunteers are signing up, and I can assign you. We have cheerleader positions, we have route marshals, we have all kinds of positions that are still available that have yet to be filled. But again, if you want a team, if you want to volunteer, either way is great for us. If you are walking, if you are thinking about walking, we suggest that you bring a cell phone. Make sure that you wear good waterproof boots just in case. If the weather is a little bit bad, we're still going to walk because, again, it's cold out there. And food insecure, housing insecure folks don't necessarily always get to make those decisions just because it's bad weather. Wear a warm coat. Get your gloves out. For those of you that are fundraising, or if you're thinking about putting a team together, we have a great toque available for you.
I love this. So cute.
So what's a toque? Well, a toque is a hat, what we Americans would call a hat or, a winter cap. In Canada, they call it a toque. So if you raise $150 or more, you get a toque, and they're beautiful, warm winter caps. It changes every year, the design of it. Okay. So
it's a collectible.
It is very much. And we have a cute little video on our Facebook that talks about the history of the toques and all the different designs that have been. This year, it's a beautiful, warm, a stone-colored blue.
Okay.
It's really nice with a leather patch on the front of it that says Coldest Night of the Year.
Nice.
Again, if you go to our Williamsport American Rescue Workers Facebook page, you can see this year's toque. If you're 18 or younger, if you're a child and you're walking, the fundraising level is 75 or more for the toque.
To earn the toque.
Absolutely. If you want to bring some extra snacks for along the route, again, we do have a snack stop for you. Bring your own water bottle. We'll have water for you available, of course, but if you wanted to bring your own water bottle. And that's about it. Bring your walking shoes and bring your energy and excitement. And if you have a couple cowbells or something, that would be cool too.
If you're not seen out there, it could be heard. Well, wonderful. So it's going to kick off Saturday, the 22nd of February, coldest night of the year, 4 o'clock starting up there at Lomedy Gymnasium, like I'm in college.
Absolutely. Yep. 4 o'clock check-in, 5 o'clock we walk.
Coldest night of the year, and help out the folks at the American Rescue Workers. How have you done with the drop-off locations? Everything working out well with the donations that people bring over to American Rescue Workers?
Are you talking about the blue bins?
Yeah, the blue bins.
Yes, the blue bins program is robust and alive. And I will tell you, without going into a long, big story about last year, but we really need your donations at this time of year, especially this year. We keep what we call a backstock of product to put out in the stores. And just because of inflation and the economy shrinking last year and some international events that occurred, we're really low on product right now. So if you have a closet to clean out, even though it's not spring cleaning fever yet, go ahead and clean out that closet, clean out your basement. We'll come and pick it up for you if you need us to. You just give us a call.
Great.
If you're looking for a blue bin, like you don't know where they are, go on our website, which is arwwilliamsport.org. We have our blue bin list there, and there's a map so you can cue right in on where your house is and where the closest blue bin is to drop off clothing or footwear. Housewares we cannot take in the blue bins. They don't fit.
Okay. Well, we want to help the American Rescue Workers all we can. So, yes, we're going to do a little clean out after the walk on the 22nd.
After the walk, yep.
Or before. You got a little bit of time. You got a week to go. Well, we're so thrilled to have you here with us today. It's Jennifer Remkey. She's the Director of Development and Community Engagement with the American Rescue Workers in Williamsport. Thanks for all that you do.
Thanks, Freddi. Thank you guys all at Backyard Broadcasting, and again, all of our team captains.
See you on the coldest night of the year.
In Touch is locally produced in our studios at 1685 4 Mile Drive in Williamsport. To get in touch with us regarding questions, comments, or topic ideas, call weekdays between 8 and 5, 570-323-8200. You can also write to us at 1685 4 Mile Drive, Williamsport, PA 17701. Attention Freddi Hammer. Or email me at fhammer@backyardbroadcasting.com. For archive programs of our In Touch series, you can download and subscribe to our new Backyard Podcasting feature through a link on any Backyard Broadcasting website or obtained where podcasts are available. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel, Backyard Broadcasting. The programming discussed here on In Touch does not necessarily reflect the feelings or opinions of the management or staff. Thanks for listening to In Touch, a production of Backyard Broadcasting.